Which do you like better? The Overwatch Precision Trigger or the Apex Trigger? We got the two Apex triggers, and then we have our Overwatch Precision Trigger right here. One of the most important things, at least in my eyes, when it comes to being accurate, isn't so much the pull weight or the smoothness or anything about the trigger, because honestly, you can be smooth with the OEM Glock Trigger. You can be accurate with the OEM Glock Trigger. So I'm not knocking OEM Glock triggers. I just prefer aftermarket triggers. So for my purposes, the biggest thing that determines my accuracy is when the trigger is in its forward position, where does it touch my finger? I want it to touch my finger on the part of the finger that I use, because otherwise I got to play around with it. And you know, some people say, oh yeah, if you're shooting left, you got too much on there or something like that. Guys, that stuff is false because everybody has different hands. So what I do is I figure out, what I'll do is I'll line up my sights here, right? I don't know if I can do this on camera, but we'll try it. So I'll line up my sights and see which one I can pull without that front sight wiggling. I will play, like I'll put my finger all the way in like this and try it. With some triggers, I might be more accurate that way. But for me, typically it's the pad of the finger. So when you're looking at this, you can see right there, boom, on the pad of my finger. Now, if you have, say, longer fingers than I do, and you might want to add a back strap to the grip here. You can't really do it on these, but you can on the Gen 4s. And what that will do is, say you're most accurate with the pad of your finger, but when you go to wrap your finger in here, you're getting too much finger on the trigger. And so you add a back strap, it will bring your finger back. Okay, so now that we got that settled, I like the Apex because there are some back straps for the Gen 3s, but typically they're aftermarket and they don't really work well or look well. So for me, when I want a trigger that's gonna work across Gen 3 and Gen 4, that was gonna hit my finger on the same spot every single time, right? See, perfect. Right there on the pad. Now, when you look at the Overwatch, see where it hits? See how much finger is coming off the trigger? That's just coming from the index straight on. So you see that overhang? And then we go here, not as much overhang, a lot easier. Same thing with the innovative Gunfighter Solutions trigger. Now, when I run this trigger, I had a back strap on it, and because I just always liked the back straps. But then I started just playing around with things and realized I didn't really like the back strap. So for this, in order for this to be accurate, I need to add a back strap to this. So that's why I don't prefer it to the Apex. Now, what do I think of Overwatch? I think it's a fantastic trigger, really do. I love the fact, I've already done a review on this, but I love the fact that it has this Robar NP3 coating. And somebody had mentioned that the coating wears off, and I've been testing it and it doesn't. And what it does though is on the contact points, it basically gets polished. So it gets shinier on the contact points, but the coating is still there. I talked with the guys over at Overwatch Precision, and they said, if your coating comes off, get in touch with them because it has a lifetime guarantee on the coating. Now, let me show you the different setups that I have. So starting with this one, this trigger is the Apex drop-in kit, and that includes the trigger bar. You're also going to get a connector and a safety plunger that's rounded and smoothed. And man, for me, I honestly feel like this is the perfect setup for concealed carry. Absolutely love it. Let's do a pull weight test. So it's all OEM springs in this, just so you know, all from the factory. The only difference is the connector, the trigger, and the rounded plunger. Okay, all OEM springs, just got the Apex kit, and we're getting, looks like 4 pounds, 4 ounces. Let's try one more, just to make sure I didn't overshoot it. Yep. So that one was closer to 4 pounds, 4 ounces. So that's a good duty carry trigger in my opinion. So let's go over here to this one. Try to slide. I just got this really cool slide for a really cool project that I got coming up. It's an Alpha Wolf, Lone Wolf slide, but I like this. It's really cool. I got it for the Gen 4, but you can get them in Gen 4 or Gen 3. But let's talk about this trigger. Now with this trigger kit, I'm running the Apex Tactical Trigger. I got the ZEV internal. So I got the ZEV safety plunger spring. It's got the 2-pound competition striker spring, and it's got the trigger reset spring and the ZEV Technologies V4 race connector. Now I really do love this setup right here. I would just put the OEM spring in there and it still runs really nice. Let me show you. Let's do a pull weight test on this. Right at 3-pound pull, and it feels amazing. Beautiful. So you got your take up, break, that's it. Same thing with this one. Take up, break, boom. Now, let me show you something else. So now we're gonna take stock springs and we'll put it with the V4 ZEV connector. This one does have the reset spring, but that doesn't affect the trigger pull. That just affects how nicely it resets. You guys want to see something cool? So this is a Gen 3 slide. This is a Gen 4. Here we got the Apex plunger and the ZEV Tech race connector. Let's see if there's a difference. So on this one has the Apex the Apex connector. So that's the only real difference here. And on the Gen 3 frame, this pulled at 4 pounds, 4 ounces. Let's see what this one does. All right, there you go. Basically, the only real difference here is the connector. This is the ZEV connector. I prefer this. This is my preferred pull weight, right around 4 pounds. You can already see there, you got about a 6-ounce difference between connectors here. So there you go. Now, let's move on to this trigger. Here's the take up, break. I love how crisp and clean. Here's the reset. Boom, break. See it again, take up, break, reset. Compare that, take up, just a tad more take up on this one, and then break, reset, break, reset, break. For some reason, it just fits me better on this one. There's that. Now in this gun, the only thing that's aftermarket besides the trigger is it has a Glock minus connector in there. No springs, no safety plungers, everything's stock. So Glock minus connector with the Overwatch Precision Trigger that has the MP3 coating. Let's do a test. Okay, here we go. So around 4 pounds, 3 ounces, or 4 pounds, 2 ounces. Let me do another one. That one pulled a little nicer. 4 pounds, 2 ounces. Okay, so here we go, guys. Let's talk about cost. Overwatch Precision Trigger with the Glock minus connector is going to run you about $140. It's a little bit more expensive for this trigger. Apex drop-in kit, about $120 to $130. This one gets you a 4 pound, 2 ounce pull. This one gets you a 4 pound, 4 ounce pull. The Apex trigger with the Apex plunger and the ZEV Tech connector is going to get you a 3 pound, 8 ounce pull to a 4 pound pull. This would cost you $99, I believe, for the trigger. I believe $20 for the plunger and $15 for the connector. So $20, $35 plus $100. So this would be $135. And this is my favorite setup. Bar none, favorite setup. So you got your $20 plunger. Okay, you got your ZEV connector and your trigger here. Stock springs in here. Except for, like I said, that trigger return spring. And right there. 3-pound, 9-ounce pull. So there you go. This one's going to be about $135 for this setup. And you get a 3-pound, 9-ounce pull. This setup here is going to run you about $120 to $130 for a 4-pound, 4-ounce pull. And then this setup right here is going to run you roughly $140 for a 4-pound, 2-ounce pull. For me, it's all about finger placement. So if you have a Glock 19 and you're looking at it right now, so on the Glock 19, my finger goes just a tad past that, okay? So if your finger is shorter than this, you might prefer the Overwatch Precision Trigger. Looking through there, you can see how the Apex has more of a forward set than the Overwatch Trigger. Makes sense? So I would say if you're more accurate on the tip of your finger and your finger reaches about here, then you're probably going to dig the Apex. If your finger is shorter and you still shoot accurate on the tip of your finger, you're going to prefer the Overwatch. So let's jump up top and I'll give you my final thoughts. Back up top. For daily carry, I've really been digging the drop-in Apex tactical kit that comes with the connector and the plunger spring. With this one, like I was saying, it's got all OEM parts in it, and you saw the pull weights, which was just a tiny bit over 4 pounds. That for me, around the 4-pound mark, is about as low. I think I would personally, I don't mind taking it down to 3.5 pounds for carry. Guys, I'm not an expert on gun laws. So a lot of people are like saying, oh, what about this state? I don't know. I'm not an attorney, and I honestly don't have time to look up all the laws for each individual state and situations. All I talk about is, the consumer perspective of things, not the expert perspective, because a lot of times you'll see reviews and people are talking about it from like a military perspective, right? Like, well, most people, don't get me wrong, a lot of guys are veterans, and we all appreciate your service, but for the vast majority, a lot of people haven't served, a lot of people haven't been in those situations, so they don't really benefit from things like that. So I try to give you guys like that real world impression. So that's my goal here. Right now, like I said, I really prefer the Apex drop-in kit that has the connector and the plunger and the trigger. However, I prefer the red one. That's just my preference. You can get these in a few different colors. I'll put links in the description to all of them. But basically, you can get the red one. This is a Brownells exclusive. They also have a purple one that's Brownells exclusive. And then you can get the black one. Whatever color trips your trigger, pun intended. Yeah, whichever trigger that you think looks best, whichever one you think will work best for you. Like I was talking about with the finger links. If you have a Gen 3 gun, there are some types of beaver tails for them. I don't know a lot about them, but it all comes to which part of the finger are you most accurate with? Everyone talks about finger placement on the tip. And then there's people who go on the, who are more accurate on the other end where they go all the way in like this and they're more accurate. So it just depends on which part of the finger works best for you. So what I do is I'll dry fire it, right? So I'll go out and I'll put a penny, or something on the tip of the sight. And then I find out, which portion of my finger pad to the first knuckle, I experiment with different things, makes that sight not wobble or wobble the least. So that's how I determine what the best finger placement is for me. Now, if you own a Gen 4 Glock, and let's just say, for example, you got a Gen 4, you got fingers like mine that, it would end up on the wrong place, well then get the back straps, because the back straps, like I was showing you, will push your hand further back and you can get your finger placement correct. So my final thoughts on this are, I love them both, but for different things, right? I love the fact that both Overwatch and Apex Tactical are both made right here in Phoenix, Arizona. I love the fact that Overwatch has gone the extra mile in adding that Robar NP3 coating, and it does seem to make a difference. It doesn't make the biggest difference like versus a polished trigger bar. You know, they perform about the same, but against like a stock trigger bar that hasn't been polished, it's a big improvement. With the Apex though, they don't use the MP3 coating, but they go the extra mile by putting the connector and the safety plunger. You know, they're about the same price when you look at it like that. So it all kind of comes down to what you like, what your preferences are. On the Apex, I love how the shoe has a more rounded feel at the tip and it's less aggravating to the tip of your finger. Not that the Overwatch aggravates at all, but I like that rounded feel more than this one. You also got to think to yourself, okay, the Overwatch has slightly less take up in it. Well, that's the reason it doesn't sit so far forward. It's because they started taking take up out of it. I would say that the Overwatch trigger, if you want like no take up in your trigger, this is probably the shortest that you can get that's done safely and properly. From the triggers that I've tested. Now, I haven't tested them all, so please, you know, I'll be testing more in the future, but so far out of the ones I've tested, the Overwatch has the shortest take up that doesn't defeat any safeties. So there you have it, guys. That's my opinions. That's why you always see me with the Apex trigger, is because this is what I carry daily. This is the setup that I know when I put my gun out there and hit that trigger, I know my finger placement's gonna be perfect every single time. So until next time, guys, thank you guys so much for liking and subscribing to the channel. Leave me some comments below if you have any questions, guys. I'll gladly interact with you. Like I said, I just don't know the laws of all the different states, nor am I an attorney, so I'm not in a position to give legal advice. But hey guys, you guys want to chat with me down below, let me know. And until next time, you guys stay sexy, and I love you.